We are God's field. We are God's building. Let each one of us take care how they build, because it will be revealed with fire, and the fire will test what sort of work each one has done. Brothers and sisters, we heard these phrases from today's epistle reading from the first letter to the Corinthians, chapter 3, describing that this life requires some building. The lives we lead should be understood as something we build. There is a foundation already there, and that foundation stone, as this same passage says, is Jesus Christ himself. And we build, and each generation builds, and we pass on to the next. It is often the case that what we do or what we build in this life is not in reference to God, but in reference to people, to humanity. What we build is something that we want to be pleased with. We want others to be pleased with that. We want recognition. We desire acknowledgement. We desire ranks. We desire to build up our CVs constantly. We understand how the world works, of course. We do that by necessity. But if we forget that this life is only 7 decades long, perhaps, for some of us a little bit more, but for many of us much less, if we forget that this life is short, we build as though we shall never die. We want people to understand that we are building for the now, and we are building our legacy so that we can be remembered by people as opposed to being remembered by God. Parents often fall into this temptation. We want our kids to appreciate what we've done for them. And that's good in and of itself, but it shouldn't be the whole picture. Because when we don't get that appreciation from our children, the fire tests us. That's the fire. Time. What happens in reality. Not what happens according to our imagination or what we wish happens, but what really happens. And what really happens is our children very often do not understand what we've done for them and do not appreciate what we've done for them. But what do? Do we understand them? Why do they not appreciate? Was it the way that we led our life? Was it that we only built with bricks and mortar and we didn't build souls? Can we complain? If we only thought about our bank account throughout our lives and we didn't think about building up and investing in the bank account of our children's souls, and we do not understand that ultimately it could have been our fault, and then we turn around and complain against our children that they are ungrateful and we have it as a great pain and hurt in our hearts? Is it because we have built with straw and not with precious stones and gold and silver, but with straw and houses built on sand? Let each one of us look back and evaluate for ourselves. So do we build for recognition in this world? Do we build for the recognition of other people? Do we want plaques in our name? Do we want things named after us? Or do we build for the sake of acquiring and inheriting the kingdom of heaven? Two different buildings. Whatever we might build on this earth in an earthly sense disappears. But whatever we build that relates to our spiritual advancement, growth, and development lives to eternity and survives to eternity. The way of the world is that we throw out God from our life and we make ourselves God in God's place. We believe not in God, we believe in ourselves. That could be a mantra for modern society's way of thought. Believe in yourself. How idolatrous is that if you sit down and think about that? I know what we mean it as. Believe in yourself, have confidence in yourself, sure, that's fine. But if symbolically you think about that phrase, believe in yourself, and if that means make yourself your God, that should be a big worry. We believe in the abilities of our accomplishments. We believe in the advancements of civilization. Sure, we understand and value all that from a historical and earthly point of view. But once again, is this the be-all and end-all? We seek recognition, we seek acknowledgement of our qualifications, our knowledge, our scientific abilities. We want our image to be acceptable out there. We count how many followers we have. 15 years ago, you couldn't do that. Now we have numbers, and we observe the numbers of followers and how much people talk about us. That's our measure. We measure our value by these things. But all those things are for the here and now, and none for eternity. None of those things are for eternity. Brothers and sisters, let us watch and care how we build, what we build in this life. Our journey to God passes through our love for the other, and love reveals itself through things like prayer and giving. Not just charity, generally speaking, but giving of ourself, giving our entire self, not just part of ourself, giving our whole being for the other, self-sacrifice. The path to God and heaven passes through the sharing of our spiritual knowledge, the sharing of our material goods, the sharing of our thoughts and what we think about life and the bigger picture of life. We don't just keep it for ourselves. We talk about it with the others in our lives, especially our children. And we will find that if we do speak to our children about the truly valuable things of life, then we won't find ourselves in a position where they are ungrateful. Of course, we speak to our children not with authority, not with a patronising way, but with humility and love, and meeting them at their level and explaining it for them to understand. Brothers and sisters, let everyone care and watch how they build, because the fire will test everyone's work, what it was built from. The fire of life, the fire of experience, the fire of reality, and the fire of judgment ultimately. If you wish to look up this beautiful passage, it is from the first letter to the Corinthians, chapter 3. Now, brothers and sisters, having mentioned fire, you would all be aware that there are great fires occurring in our Patrida, our homeland, Greece. And the Archdiocese has organised a fire appeal, and we provided the link to the GoFundMe page last week, and we will do the same this week. We'll just let the video upload as soon as we're done, and because it deletes all the comments after we finish the live stream, and so instead of doing that twice, we'll do it once and for all. So about 10 minutes after we go off live, the video will then have the links included to the GoFundMe page for the Greek fire appeal. Many people have lost their livelihoods, and but nevertheless, every experience in life is a test. And last week I spoke about a great miracle that occurred in relation to the monastery of St. John the Russian on Evia. And if you wish, you can go back to that sermon from last week where I explained with satellite images what happened in terms of the monastery being saved after a litany or procession of prayer. If that's not goosebump material, I don't know what would be. Now, in terms of further events for this week, our Sunday school lesson is doing a Zoom lesson at 11:30 today, and I will be tuned in to that Zoom lesson, and I will address the children of our parish. So a reminder for all of you to log in. The link has been emailed to all the parents and families who are enrolled in our Sunday school. We shall also do that to the uploaded video so that everyone else can log in if they wished. Tomorrow night, I am giving a talk once again on Zoom for the benefit of all the university students in New South Wales from all the universities of our state, which as of this year have grouped together and have rebranded as one group known as Sophia University Fellowships. And I shall be talking about baptism and the different types of baptism, the baptism of water, the baptism of the Spirit, the baptism of tears, the baptism of blood, and ultimately we will give a small tutorial about how to do an emergency baptism in the case of, for example, babies who are given not long to live at birth, for example, that you do not wait for a priest, but you as a parent or as a relative can do a one-phrase baptism, and we will do a tutorial where I'll explain that. It's known as the aerobaptisma. But that can also apply to adults if they have not been baptized, but it is their wish and desire to be baptized, that if they are dying, anyone can recite this phrase in order for them to be baptized. So that's tomorrow night, Monday night. All of our social media will have the links and so on. And on Tuesday night for our young adults, SGF. We will, once again, I'll be talking, so that's 3 engagements I'll have in a row. And on Tuesday night, I'll be talking about how to read icons. So we all know about our icons, but I will help you understand how to analyse what every little element or part of the icon is and what information you can get out of reading or observing an icon. In terms of church services, St. Fanurios this Friday, the 27th of August, and then again next Sunday. I wish you great safety in this time of lockdown, and thank you for joining us this morning. Please press all the buttons, the like button, share button, comment button, and tell your friends to subscribe as well. Thank you for joining us.